Okay, time now to have another conversation here on UPFront with me, Blessed Suga. And tonight the focus is simply on the New Patriotic Party, because the opposition political party will now have one less a seat in Parliament. That means that 87 persons will be the only people occupying seats in Parliament on the ticket of the New Patriotic Party. That's because, unfortunately, after the demise of NS Kumi, Member of Parliament for Akwatia, the by-election and its outcome failed to go in favor of the opposition New Patriotic Party. That will now mean that the NDC will add another seat to its control in Parliament. But what's the implication for parliamentary democracy? And beyond that as well, what's the implication for our democracy? Well, we start off by telling the story of what happened in Akwatia itself. Despite having a largely successful and a peaceful poll, so much drama unfolded when, of course, I joined the team there to Akwatia constituency for the by-election. Quite a lot of issues were happening, and I must say that we haven't seen some of them and some of the utterances in a long while. The party is already reacting to that, pointing out to some comments by leading figures of the National Democratic Congress, who they claim were threatening some members of the NPP, including its minority leader, Alexander Apenyo Markin. I want you to see some of the visuals of the confrontations that took place when the minority leader decided to tour some of the polling centers. And you'll be having that on your screens right now, giving you a sense of what the New Patriotic Party appears to be incensed about. Take a look at this. Here's one of the polling centers. And I recall being here myself when, of course, the minority leader arrived in Akwatia, trying, of course, to ascertain the level of success, smoothness, or otherwise of the exercise within the constituency when the by-election was just taking off. And the reports we understand, and from what I gathered myself, having seen this live and colored, as we will say in Ghana, is largely because of one of the members of the Apenyo Marking team, who we understand was protesting the hoisting of a flyer belonging to that of the National Democratic Congress at this very polling station. The man you see there in your shot belongs to the NDC side, who's not taking it lightly as to why the NPP was insisting that, of course, the images be taken down. Because the NDC guy also claims that the NPP had hoisted, of course, some of their items at this polling center. And so there you see the General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party and Apenyo Marking himself being whisked into their vehicles just to avoid any further confrontation. These are some of the developments, including that statement we had from Chief Azoka, which the NPP appears to be unhappy about. So let's get to the statement coming through from the New Patriotic Party on what they think about the entire process and why they feel this individual you see on your screens right now should be condemned and be taken up by the law enforcement agencies. So I'm just reading portions of the statement from the New Patriotic Party now, because the New Patriotic Party says it's condemning the threats of death against minority leader Osahin Alexander Apenyo Marking, the national organizer Henry Nana Boache. Honorable Frank and Nodon prayers were understand by the first national chairperson of the National Democratic Congress, Chief Sofo Azoka, and Alhaji Abdul Wahab Amadu, who is the Ebuakwa North Constituency Communications Officer of the NDC. Now, the party further condemns the unprovoked physical attack which the NPP is stemming it on the third national vice chairperson, Alhaji Osam Masaudu, by Chief Sofo Azoka, allegedly, and his notorious hoodlums, as the statement is describing those individuals. Now, such violent conduct, according to the NPP, by no means a person than the national officer of the ruling party and a constituency officer diminishes the gains of the democracy and has the potential, according to the NPP, to create further insecurity in the country in the face of Ghana's recent decline in the Global Peace Index ranking. The party says it will formally lodge complaints with the Ghana Police Service against the mentioned individuals, which the party says it will be doing in the few days. And they are also calling on the Inspector General of Police as part of his post-election activities to immediately arrest and investigate Chief Sofo Azoka, Alhaji Abdul Wahab, and any other individual captured in this video, which is widely circulating in the media and also, I believe, on social media. The recklessness, they say, of the actions of Chief Sofo Azoka and the team ought to be properly investigated according to the New Patriotic Party. And the belief is that there should be a punishment for all of these actions. In fact, earlier in the day, I was there myself and I had interacted with the General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party, Justin Kodia Frimpong, who then told me why, first of all, the party failed or declined to sign a peace pact going into the Akwatia by-election, and why they feel the NDC had disrespected them. Listen to Essence.
Council sent a letter to General Secretary, invites NPP to come. We send our national organizer, our national youth organizer, our head of Security and Intelligence Committee, Honorable Henry Cote, only to attend that meeting and see constituency deputy youth organizer, constituency deputy organizer. This is not an insult even to the Peace Council. And you are making the statement you both quoted it. Were you expecting us to stay there? Were you expecting us to stay there?
Well, some would say that that's why we're seeing, for instance, what we're seeing this morning, just a few minutes ago, some, skirmishes there at one of the polling centers. What actually happened?
What kind of skirmishes? Nothing happened. It's part of the elections. So
they were complaining that you had taken down some posters and all of that.
But is it proper for a poster to be at the polling center? Is it proper? Answer me, is it proper? So if something is wrong, it is wrong.
It is wrong. Mr. Koda, what could be a fulfilling outcome for the New Patriotic Party at the end of
Well, at the end of the day, at 5 p.m., when collation is done, you will see the results.
Will the NPP accept the outcome of this election, this by-election, regardless?
Why? What would be the reason for us to accept, and what would be the reason for us not to accept?
Okay, great question there by Justin Kodia Frimpong. No clear thoughts on whether or not the New Patriotic Party will indeed accept the outcome of the election. But now it's been declared, and I was there, when, of course, the verdict went in favor of the NDC. So will the New Patriotic Party, first of all, accept this? Joining me now, Director of Communications for the New Patriotic Party, Richard Ahiangwa. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. I mean, almost all your party members had literally run away before the declaration of the results.
Well, good evening.
Sorry, apologies, I didn't welcome you.
Sorry. No, it's okay. And,
so uncultured of an everyman.
It's okay, because you are too eager to get into the issues. I think that the results are here, and the efforts that we put in have not yielded the outcome we're looking for. But by and large, we accept the outcome. But there are issues to be addressed. I hope that the NDC takes a very close look at itself, its conduct in Akwatia. What ended this so-called victory is questionable in my view. A lot of undemocratic things were done. But then, be it as it may, democracy must continue. We support the outcome, and we think that a good people of Akwatia deserve the occasion to, to have their MP do the work that they expect him to do for them.
We'll dig into the statement that you've released, but tell me if I'm wrong. This is by far one of the most peaceful by-elections we've ever had.
If you ask me, comparing this to Asen North, I'd say Asen North was much peaceful, was a bit more open, cordial. It was an atmosphere where, you could see every political party had a space to campaign, and the initial events leading to it, there was a lot of tension in the air. The NDC did quite a lot to intimidate. So part of this victory is intimidation tactics that was deployed by the NDC elaborately that contributed to their victory. So
give me one evidence, Richard. Give me one evidence that the NDC indeed intimidated the NPP in this by-election.
well, not intimidate the NPP, but create an atmosphere of tension in the constituency. You saw what the turnout was, you know. So a lot of people felt, well, I'm not going to go to vote, and they didn't go out to vote. Turnout, a good turnout would have inured to the benefit of the New Patriotic Party, and the NDC knows that. And so systematically, they created that tension that led to people staying away from the polls. So in comparing this to Asenov, I think that it was more freer, more open. You have a lot of police presence in Asenov as well. But then it was such that people saw the police as coming there to provide them security, whereas now, in this occasion, people thought that the police were not there to support. You saw the incident, and why you were asking for an incident, you saw the incident to do with our third vice chair. And it's completely unreasonable to see somebody having an interview like you and I having, and somebody just come accost him, was literally just waiting for him to finish, and accost him, assaulted him. Now, the question is, where is our father, Sofo Azoka? Where is he now? Is he answering for that abuse, that invasion of a privacy of an individual who has done nothing to deserve what he did to him? Where is he? That's a systematic effort to try and create tension. Let people know that if you mess up, there's violence waiting, but that should not be an atmosphere for democracy. People are supposed to go there solemnly to exercise their franchise, to be able to select at their own volition.
The statement
who they want to
that you've just issued from your quarters point out that you'll be formally indicating your report to the Ghana Police Service. Exactly what are you expecting from the IGP? Some would say after election, no campaign.
Well, but there must be justice, right? And there must be lessons to be learned from this systematic use of violence to try to aid political outcome, which the NDC is now specializing itself in. You saw in the interviews on your colleagues captured it, saying that we were actually expecting to see this person, that person, this person. And he asked the question, why did most of our people step away or then were not there? Can you imagine a situation where these individuals, they say they are looking are out there? Before the election, they said they will bring the Black Maria, and anybody they see, they will arrest them and lock them up there. So the NDC is actually engaged in some exploitation of violence and use of violence, integrating it, I don't want to say smartly, but rather disingenuously into electoral politics to advance their cause. And I think that that's regrettable, and all of us must speak against it, really.
Richard, if Chief Azoka is not arrested, what then will happen?
Well, it's an indictment to all of us as society, you included, me included, to see that if that was done to you, you won't accept it. If that is done to another person, it's not accepted. So why do we allow for him to do it? They say, why is the NDC, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, okay, watching the IGP, watching somebody? So today, right, if you and I get on the street and I do the same thing to you, do you think that if you take me, or you would be able to take me to go to the police and say, I've invaded your privacy or as your private space, or I've assaulted you in any way, shape, or form? Because Azoka is walking free. He did that because he's an NDC member. He did that and abused an individual, especially when, I'm coming, just a quick one.
I may appear a bit insensitive.
Please go ahead.
But this individual involved here is also known for violent rhetoric. Your official, I mean. Who
That's your perception. But has he assaulted? Yes, has he assaulted you? Has he assaulted Sofo Azoka? Has he?
But his rhetoric,
but I'm
violence begets violence.
Can anybody arrest you for rhetoric? Can anybody? But if that is the case, hold on.
That's the kind of treatment you.
Please, let's not indulge this. If that is the case, then the national chairman of the NDC should be arrested, because much of his rhetoric in Akwatia was inflammatory, creating a certain atmosphere of support of Galamsey, which all of us want to fight. So if that's the case, then he should be arrested. But I'm just saying that what is wrong is wrong. What Sofo Azoka did is completely wrong. You should condemn it roundly. There cannot be any form of justification.
Will you condemn your party official as well for violent rhetoric?
Who's on my party?
The gentleman at the center of this.
You are not focused on the conversation. You are just trying to create a ruse. He hasn't done anything.
Yeah, but you know some of the comments he's made prior to the election.
What are you talking about?
Creating the same atmosphere that he's fed into.
No. I just gave you an example. Can anybody be arrested for speaking politically? The national chairman of the NDC, when you do this, what does it mean?
Victory, maybe. Isn't it?
Does that mean victory to you? If I see you and I do this to you, you interpret that to be victory. So forget about rhetoric. Forget about rhetoric and any avenue to sip away from this matter.
Yeah.
The principal concern that we must advance is that when it happens today, we don't talk about it. It will continue. It will fester. Becomes a norm. Somebody will copy it. Somebody will do it. And after that, you saw an individual reference Sofo Azoka and said that he said what he said, that if they had come here to meet the Honorable Minority Leader, Aponyo Markins, if they had come to meet him, he would be cemetery. You saw that. What he did is enabling another to feed on. So assuming that he actually saw him, then what would have been the outcome? So these are things that we have to question. These are things that we have to encourage the government to take action. The government, though formed or birthed by the NDC party, is separate from the party, and so should be in a position to check the excesses of the party, which was what was on full display in Akwatia.
Richard, here's the thing. You're to blame as well as the New Patriotic Party, would you agree? Because you failed to sign a peace pact going into such a sensitive elections.
What would a peace pact have done to Sofo Azoka?
At least that would have been a clear indication of commitment from both sides.
But I'm saying that what would that have done?
That you were not going to tolerate such activity.
You didn't see us. You didn't see the New Patriotic Party visiting violence anywhere.
Yeah, but you didn't sign on to peace.
But what would that have got to do with it?
Yeah, but it's part of the peace
process. But I'm just saying that would that have moderated the behavior of Sofo Azoka?
No one knows, probably. Because you would have had all leading figures of the NPP.
Let's get serious.
And the NPP.
Let's get serious.
This is a serious
No.
You do that for each presidential. No, I mean, you do that for each presidential poll.
Hold on.
You do that for the presidential poll.
Strategically, hold on.
Yeah.
You are strategically belittling the matter.
That's not the case.
What has been done is egregious enough for you and I to focus on and call the attention of the IGP.
And I'm also
so let's not digress and ask questions that don't
to what the political class has failed to do over the period. Committing to peace
Forget about peace pact. People have signed peace pacts and they misbehaved. I'm talking about self-regulation.
You didn't sign
the pact. It has nothing to do with it.
You left.
Masa.
And we just said your general secretary said
let's get serious. I rode on a motorbike to come here. So let's talk about serious matters. Okay, I didn't risk my life to come here and talk about tangential matters. Honestly.
You feel that's not important?
Yes, that's tangential. You are belittling the matter. What I'm trying to tell you is that the Masawudu did not provoke Sofo Azoka, did he? While he was attacking and poking him in the face, he was telling my brother, we are brothers. And so when this matter is here, let's talk about it seriously. Let's not digress and then try to make it
You wouldn't want to take that?
No, focus on the matter. What he's done is wrong. Look in your camera and tell him it's wrong. Why are you trying to make it appear as if there is something else to excuse for that?
There's no excuse.
So let's focus and deal with that.
And there's no excuse also for not signing a peace pact.
Master, I don't know why you're comparing apples and oranges.
I'm bringing that
has nothing
so that you have a perspective
pact,
of what needs.
Why? Is it by force? It's volition. Okay, if you want to sign, you sign it. But then your conduct, you must believe in your conduct. Did we go there not sign the peace pact and go there to visit violence? No, we didn't. So what has that got to do with us? We knew we were going to go into the election peacefully. So whether we signed the pact or didn't sign the pact, our conduct speaks for us. So Richard, that's the expectation you should have from the NDC. So those who didn't sign the peace pact, okay, who went there to visit violence, next time encourage them to sign the peace pact because they are violent by nature. And so therefore they must be forced to sign a peace pact. We went there was no violence on our side. When we were having peaceful interview, part of the electoral process, you brought your mic, we're just talking to you to inform Ghanaians, somebody has come to accosted us. And that one, you should be able to speak to it. You should be able to speak
Richard,
to it clearly.
I'm asking the question because I was there. I was following the minority leader, and part of the reason for which the statements were made was because your members protested that there was an NDC flyer, I believe, near one of the polling stations. And one of your men had attempted to take that down. That was when all of this started. And that's why I'm pointing out to you that possibly we should have had all the political parties, I mean, your leadership, coordinate on committing to peace before, during, and after?
So what's your question in this?
Yeah, so largely, it's not in a vacuum, is it? If you had committed to the process
what's the wrong? What's the wrong?
Yeah.
Possibly that you have a paraphernalia of a political party near a polling station. The EC is supposed to ensure that that wasn't the case. So if that's the case, canvassing real time for a political party at the polling station, and that is addressed, is it against the law? Does that attract retribution from the opposition? No. So imagine that I am wearing the New Patriotic Party's candidate, Solomon Sumedu's T-shirt, to go and vote. You think the NDC will countenance it? They won't countenance it. So why would that be okay if they have that over there? So you should be able to see. Listen, these are some of the matters if we are determined to deepen our democracy. You should be able to say it without mincing words, to say that that was wrong, so that the NDC would know that the people know this is not acceptable. You understand? If you refer to the political class and you exclude yourself, it's a difficulty when you cannot speak the fact, because what you see is what you are reporting. Do you, by standard or by norm, is it okay for that poster of the NDC or flyer of the NDC to be where it was?
Well, we should be asking the Electoral Commission why
No,
they
but
take
you
that down.
You know
anyway,
that it's not okay.
Yeah.
Why they had to take it down is because it didn't have to be there. And so if they, by some deliberate oversight, they didn't take it out and somebody took it off, that person has not wronged any law.
Right.
They've not offended any law.
Richard, what's happening to the New Patriotic Party? You are now losing grounds, is it?
In what sense? You have
87 seats now, I believe, in Parliament. Not a good sign, not a good omen for the NPP, is it?
No, but political parties rebuilding in opposition, 8 years in government, obviously some of the policies that we're putting found favor with a certain number of Ghanaians, and maybe in some cases not exactly so. A new government has come in, rode in on momentum, which momentum, a lot of it was on a balance of deceit, made up promises that we're going to deliver A, B, C, D. Today, incidentally, when I was leaving my car, I just had this NDC social contract there. I don't know if you and I sit here and look through it, how many of it that the president has delivered. About 25 or 26 of them. We don't see anything, right? So, but then they came in with all that. And so the momentum that they rode into office is still there. It's waning considerably. They've lost the goodwill, but then there's still some measure of support. But you see, what we need to distinguish from Akwatia that just happened is that the NDC didn't go to Akwatia to campaign that since we came 8 months, 9 months now, we have told you that we'll do 24-hour economy, and we have done it. We told you that we're going to ensure that there is employment for you young people through the Nation Coders program, through the Ejumera program, the Kokon Ketikiti program initiative. We're going to make sure that there is a big push agenda that is building infrastructure. And so therefore we have done those. And on the basis of that, vote for us. They went there to make a future promise. A future promise. If you listen to all of them, very inflammatory stuff was said. They made a future promise of what they're going to do. So they didn't win because they had performed. They won because they were dangling power in front of the people that we are in government. So if you vote for us, you'll get A, B, C, D. Much of it against the Constitution, because the Article 36 or so guides and ensure that development is balanced, so that places or communities like Akwatia needed to have some disproportionate allocation of resources to bridge the gap of the development of the place relative to the cities and all of that. But then you went there to dangle in front of them the power they have given you to say that if you don't vote for us, we'll not develop your community. That completely is unconstitutional. It is wrong. But that's what they did.
Yeah, but you all do that, isn't it?
But what are we talking about? We're talking about what has happened.
Yeah.
Okay? What has happened is what we're talking about. So why are you digressing?
You know, I'd always bring it up.
No, but you first of all have to agree to what has been done here to be the case.
Richard, it appears you're not comfortable if I refer you to your own acts, which the NDC is also replicating
but blessed,
now.
why are we going back if we're supposed to be going forward?
Yeah, but you learn from experience.
We were a party in government yesterday. You okay?
Yeah.
I'm representing the entire body of the citizenship. You went and voted for a different person. Now we'll talk about who is in power.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about yesterday, I'm not sure what progress you are seeking going back.
You learned from yesterday, so it informs what happens in
That's
the future.
why I am saying, so if you hear me saying that that's not a right way to go.
So you agree that
by
the NPP
implication
had laid the bad precedent, a reason for which the NDC is using it now against
I'm not saying that. What we will be doing on your program, if we are not calling this out fair and square what it is, then we'll be laying a precedent that is not acceptable, because then people refer that the last time Blessed and Richard were here, Blessed justified it, Richard said, and Blessed said, because you did yesterday, it's okay. No, let's cut from the past, which is not okay. Do you agree with that?
Accountability is key in governance. You were in power, you just left office. I remind you, for instance, what President Akufo-Addo had said at the time to the people of, I believe, Ekumfi, for instance, telling them, well, you didn't vote for the candidate. I couldn't have brought development there. The NDC is doing same to you now, isn't it?
So you like it?
It's not.
Do you like it?
I don't vote in Akwatia.
But you are engaged in a conversation that reflects something you don't like. So let's say you don't like it.
I'm just telling you what you in the NPP had done in the past.
But that was yesterday.
But you must be accountable for that now.
Accountable in what sense?
It's what exactly the NDC
What is that accountability going to do for you?
It's just showing us precedents, what's happened in the past, and possibly what the political class is doing.
You should be one who wants to go forward. Ghana is moving forward, not going backward. Is that, you understand that proposition?
I believe that.
Okay, so if that is the way we are moving, what happened yesterday that you didn't agree with? Why are you trying to make it acceptable today because it happened yesterday, and what is the same thing you disagree with yesterday is happening, and you want to justify what happened yesterday? We have moved on from yesterday. We are going forward. So if you disagree with it yesterday, today, disagree with it. So that if tomorrow I come here to rationalize that, you tell me, but Richard, this is a concluded conversation. Nobody wants to have that. So let's move forward. So next time somebody going out there to campaign using that will just completely or roundly disagree that, look, Massa, this is not the way to go.
The people have bought into it. They voted in the NDC now. How does it make you feel as the NPP that you're increasingly losing your figures, or you would recapitalize on this and bounce back stronger as a political party?
Look, I tell you what, the by-elections don't count much in terms of predicting any trend. Okay, they are isolated, very cut off from any trend that you want to analyze. And the messaging in that space, it is completely, not linked to anything. And like I was saying to you, the NDC didn't come fast because 8 months we performed A, B, C, D. No, they're still making new promises as if they're in opposition, except that now they have power to taunt the people with that if you don't vote for us, you don't get development. Completely unacceptable, undemocratic, but that's what they did. As far as we're concerned, if we had won, okay, it would have indicated to us the approach and the tactics that we were using. It will indicate to us that we are clawing back as fast as we want to be. But this will give us a certain indication. It would help us focus on the rebuilding process and ensure that the things that we need to do and ensure that our party is properly built from the ground up are put in place. And I think that we've got that lesson out of this, win or lose. So that is useful for us. It does not reflect our future potential. It doesn't say anything about our prospect in 2028. It would have given us a boost, but what I'm trying to indicate to you is that the loss has given us the same boost, that we need to do more, okay? And the victory would have given us an indication that what we are doing is working. So either way, we are on a firm path towards restructuring our party.
And what would be your best strategy in making a strong comeback in 2028? You already have some internal challenges, isn't it, looking at your reorganization process? Quite a highly contested and some would say divisive exercise so far, with 4 or 5 individuals running to lead your political party. How are you planning to mend these faults and commentary and highly charged atmosphere leading to your reorganization, which is starting off in January?
Self-regulation, and everyone keeping their eye on the ball. The prize is not winning amongst ourselves. The prize is winning against our opponent, the National Democratic Congress, who is messing up the country 9 months in, right? They haven't done anything. The last time their refrain is, if you say you are angry about the promise of 24-hour, they haven't delivered. Oh, but the currency is gone down. Now it's shooting up, right? The city is losing grounds. Not that we want it. to lose ground, but the effort they put in to bring it down was not sustainable. We told them. I remember sitting here and telling them it's not sustainable. The last time I was here, roundly, Professor Bokpin, who has been very generous and presenting the fact as in most cases I would disagree, but was clear the last time here that, look, this thing is not sustainable. But then we're here. So as far as we're concerned, we will continue with our rebuilding process. And I feel that the next few months would give us a clear indication. But what I will insist on, and then I think most people, is that every candidate and the people who support them are restrained, understand that there's internal context. What we're doing is to select one of five, amongst one of five elephants who we believe can represent us. Let's focus on their capacity, what they bring to the table, as opposed to cutting each other in half just to be able to get ahead. Because at the end, it makes the rebuilding process all the more difficult and to a very large extent impossible if the
giving the tension, are you as a political party likely to give it a second thought that, well, let's defer this, giving the high level of interest in the presidential race, do the top-down approach instead of what we had planned to do, which is the starting from the presidential to the base level of the party? No,
that's a foregone issue.
You're not going back.
That's an issue that is dealt with. Where we are now, we're moving full steam ahead. 31st January, we'll elect a flag bearer. That flag bearer, we're hoping, will enjoy the support of the other four individuals who contested. I have made a principled position not to support this openly or that openly, but I have a candidate who I pray that would win. But if he doesn't win, whoever wins becomes my candidate. It's a principled position I have taken. And so you won't see me going to this campaign and saying that campaign, but I have a candidate, and whoever that person is knows. I hope they know that I support them. But my goal is that the NPP flag bearer is who I'll support. So doing it now, I think I've been, listening to a lot of feedback on that. In fact, the NDC is troubled by that.
That you're doing that.
That we're doing that now. Yes, absolutely. And if you look at it now, it makes sense. Even though initially there were, some very loud disagreements with it, but if you look at it now, by January would have been done with one of the most difficult internal elections to have. And once we get past that, we can then focus on the other levels of elections that we need to restructure our party. Then the NDC, you've started hearing the sounds coming out. What is going to happen to their party, only God knows. And I pray that they're able to salvage it. Because the contest that is coming, following the president's declaration that he's not running again, which of course, for me, it didn't have to be him declaring for us to do he won't run. Because as a matter of process, he has 2 terms, and that's it. But then he was generous to clear people's doubt that he won't run. Now that has begun the internal contest in the NDC, and that is going to be very vicious. Very, very, very vicious.
Just as yours, isn't it?
Ours is not going to be anything close. I mean, what we're having is a regular competitive environment, except that we, because of the tangent we're on, we want the party to come together. So
it's not happening anytime soon, is it? The former vice president, your last presidential candidate, was in London. He says that even tribalism is now kicking into the race, where people are attacking his wife, which never used to be the case when he was running in the 2020 elections. That's how deep and cracking it is, knowing that the race is getting closer.
That's unfortunate that the wife of the vice president will be drawn in, or for that matter, the wife of any candidate will be drawn in that light. But the point is that tribal affinity has been part of our political mobilization for when we started this Fourth Republic. So it's nothing new. But that is to say that it is a tool for political mobilization. Whether you believe it or disagree with it is not the matter. The point is that it is there, it's being used, you understand? But for me to draw a spouse in a manner, I think that it reduces the the level of or the quality of conversation we should have. There's a lot of space to be explored. If you're taking Dr. Bawobia right now, you can interrogate and say, what makes him an exceptional candidate? Why do you have to go with him rather than Brian, rather than Ken, rather than Edu Chung, rather than Kobra J. Japan? Right? You can do that, and the various campaigns can do that and look at the strength where the weaknesses are. Juxtapose that with the challenge we're going to face in 2028. Who is better suited? You can craft messages along those lines, but to reduce it into those things where it's almost insulting, I think that we should try and stay away from.
Richard, one of the areas the NPP is being criticized for not, opening their hearts to is to scientific feedback or polling. It's become, a political hot.
That's not true.
In the last few days, you know what? Where I'm going to.
Yeah,
obviously,
go to your question. Yes.
Global info analytics will come into play here. Of course, some describing the Akwatia elections, for instance, being a heated argument not between you and the NDC, but you and Global Info Analytics. Is the party against, scientific research or polling? Why are you not opening up to that?
We're against a propagandist, a party-sponsored poster posturing as a national poster. It's not. Musa Dankwa is not a national poster. It's an NDC poster. That's clear.
You've been together on the show before. He's told you he's surprised at you in particular making that statement about him.
What you say?
Oh, you've all been on this show.
Yes, of course. I disagree with it because look, if Musa Dankwa comes out and identify himself properly as is, that I'm an NDC poster, when he brings stuff, we can look at it from that prism. But when you are posturing as a national poster, when you are then doing things to shape public perception in favor of the NDC, you ought to be called out that way. We are not against scientific feedback, but we are against an individual who is cooking a scientific outcome and posturing it as a national feedback. Let me give you an example.
The projection is done. It's spot on, isn't it?
How do you mean?
At least he's projected the percentage points, which is turning out to be true.
Okay, so did the projection take into account his study? Did he ask people whether you would, if you take money from NDC, you vote for them? Or vote for them again?
That will not necessarily.
But that is a variable that changes the outcome.
It's a subjective variable.
No. What I'm talking about.
He's on the lookout for the outcome of an election.
I'm just telling you. Hold on.
Yeah.
I don't know why you are busy trying to discuss Musa Dankwa. It's not a credible post as an independent poster. It's an NDC poster. Let's get that. Somehow they succeeded in roping the media in, buying it as though that is a credible poster. It's not. It's an NDC poster. Done deal. If I tell
you 5 people in Akwatia say they would vote NDC and that turns out to be true, regardless of the political party I support, you should be welcoming that, isn't it?
No, hold on.
Right.
So it's different when you say what you're saying, but I'm just saying that with specific reference to Musa Dankwa. It's an NDC poster. The earlier we accept that,
you wouldn't take feedback from an NDC member, would you?
But I'm saying that when he does that, if you take that at your own peril, because all of these things has public perception impact, right? So he's putting that thing down. That data is talking about, and it's a shame that we're spending time to discuss him. But the point is that you took a data, I think 27, 28, and quickly come out along the lines of where they were going to the election, dump it out there to create a certain public understanding that, the NDC is winning. If I am a voter in Akwatia, okay, I'm supposed to vote, I live in Accra, and I'm hearing that on TV that, Musa Dankwa, who, with the help of the media, appears to be a national poster, says that the NDC is winning, I tell myself, well, so why do I bother to go back to Akwatia to go and vote? So I don't go. You saw the outcome as it was. So that has a psychological impact on voter turnout. So you suppress the vote by that kind of fake, data that is put out. And that's what they did in the election. Look, you tell me the ingenuity of his prediction in 2024. It's a terminal election. And Ghana here, we look at from 1992 to date, it's been 8 in, 8 out. So if anybody is predicting that NDC is going to win, it's a foregone conclusion. But the only thing is that the NPP then is seeking to do the impossible, which is also permissible. But then to say that the NDC is going to win, the probability is on your side that way. So it's a probability game he played for the NDC, but then with the help of you, the media, he appeared to be a credible pollster.
Well, if you say with the help of the media.
We are discussing him.
Yeah, how do you tell a good prophet? He says something, it comes to pass. Same with the pollster, isn't it? The pollster says it, does his projections, it comes to pass. He's as good as that.
No. If it's an NDC pollster in a terminal election, that one is
my point to you is
whether
the prefix or not as an NDC or otherwise pollster.
That's not even.
Once you go with the scientific numbers,
I know you won't accept
figures don't lie.
I know you accept.
No, it's not about.
But the short answer for you is that the New Patriotic Party is not against scientific feedback. We have our own internal data, our internal polls that we do. We adhere to that. We believe in scientific inquiry, so we operate along with it. Except that we're saying that what Musa Daukwa did is a poll that ought to be consumed by the NDC, but they roped you, the media.
So which polls would you accept then?
Sorry?
Whose polls would you accept?
Call a poll. Let me see. Which poll?
Well, I think it's the only active one now, isn't it?
Yeah, that is the only one is the NDC.
No, but it's not entirely NDC, is it?
So maybe you can excuse yourself that because it's the only one, that's why you discuss it. So that's a plausible excuse on your part.
No, but
I think that
you're looking at credibility.
But I think that some media houses innocently got roped in, but some are in on the game.
It's not about innocence, is it? Tell me in the last post that you've heard of. Tell me of any last post that you done.
Many of the polls.
Benefsin hasn't done a poll.
I'm saying that.
Benefsin hasn't. He's done a poll for your candidate, in favor of your candidate.
I'm saying that.
He's not done a poll for the Akwatia by-election, has he?
No.
Global Info Analytics is the only CSO doing
so
that.
So you are building your defense for why you can excuse yourself from discussing Musa Dankwa rather than talking about the matters.
I'm pointing to the other credible ones who've not come out in the last few months. This is the only scientific figure we could rely on, isn't it?
So that's an NDC poll. That answers your question.
What's your own projection for the 2028 elections?
Well, it's too far off. But my gut feeling is that we're going to give it our all with a view that we can win the election. And events in the 8 months of the NDC's administration tells you that they're not going to be able to do anything significant. And the fight that is fixing to happen in their own party is going to disrupt any chance they have at advancing any of the promises that they have made. I just told you that I was from the farm. The NDC talk about building farmer center and the rest of the things that they're talking about. You don't see any. Okay, farmers are still, doing subsistence farming. The people they want to affect, the Kukon they want to see. It hasn't happened. The last time the minister is saying that, some investment is coming now, they want to keep the day-old check for 2 weeks, and all of that. Too much talking. They talked so much in opposition that they are here, they are still talking. So Ghanaians will begin to see the full length of the NDC, that they are talkers, not doers. And maybe that would then create a certain reality for Ghanaians to say that, look, when the NPP were there, all the lies that were told about the NPP, typically about the cathedral issue, that there was $1 billion or so much million of dollars being sunk into digging a hole. When the NDC knows that to build any house worth its salt, you have to dig your foundation first. To go up, you must go down. So the truth of that propaganda they did against us didn't stand. All the corruption matters, and they have stolen friends and family and all of that. They are doing worse than friends and family. They are doing friends, family, girlfriends, whoever. They are doing all of that worse stuff. They haven't arrested anybody, successfully convicted anybody. All the people they have in a rush arrested, all those cases are coming apart. You understand? I don't want to mention any, but you know them. This whole thing about Madame Cecilia Dapa has done ABCD. Her government is still not in power, but what we are seeing is that the positions that was raised and canvassed upon the NDC benefited, that the NPP is corrupt. Where is that now? The fullness of time, we will see really the difference between the party. A lot of propaganda happened, and a lot of that enjoy support from the media. We see what has happened, the appointment here and there. We see that. So I'm saying that reality will dawn on us. And with humility, we'll come back to Ghanaians in 2024 and let them know that we meant well and all the things that we put in place to ensure that we build 111, I think at some point, 114 hospitals across this country, it is for the betterment of our country. The idea that we want to build district factory in all the districts, that we meant well.
Right.
The idea that we want to pay for children to go to school for free,
right.
It is a policy that is going to change the mobility in terms of classes, that even the poor person's child can rise and can dream higher. And these are things that we have done for good, and Ghanaians will come to understand that.
All right.
And on that basis, 2028, give us the mandate again.
Richard, we'll have this conversation again. And trust me, we have a friendly banter. But after the show, of course, I'm going to call him back. He knows that for sure.
No. I mean, this is for good. This is for good.
Grateful for your time and wish you all the best and your reorganization process. That's all time will allow us here on UPFront. I am Blessed Suga. We'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.